think race is that important? You're making your skin color an idol.
Unfortunately, niggas, looking at all the cameras, niggas, you will always be niggas. Before Christianity, guess what there was? Niggas. And guess what there will be after the deconstruction of harmful Christianity? Niggas.
Yes.
So you could never be Christian before you are niggas, because God, if you were already God's in your slave way, if you were already owned by God, belonged to God, you belong to God in the form that He made you, which is a nigga. You see how you can't say it?
Not only are we trapped by a 400-year imagination with chattel slavery, Black Christians are trapped in a 2,000-year imagination.
Ooh.
Dante, come here.
Philip Anthony Mitchell, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how he was saying, and I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because it's so ignorant, and how many people were going off in the crowd. And he was like, teach your children to not park in the handicapped spot if you don't want them to end up handicapped. And I just kept thinking of the overall IQ of the people in the building, because I'm so used to there being so many intelligent Christians. So they're intelligent people and Christians.
Mm-hmm.
But that intelligence is some way, somehow not intersectional. They just are running side by side. So in other aspects of life, smart. But in the church, they turn that function off, because as a critical thinker, I would stop and go, why would God call you to preach that? God is love. So messages should always come from a place of love. And it's reminding me really of like these femininity coaches online that kind of shade you for, they're basically Kevin Samuels in woman form. And then you have the workout coaches that, and the Tony Fines of and yeah, I don't give a fuck, because being bullied into being confident is not going to make you confident, because they're bullying you about your insecurities. Therefore, you never stop being insecure, so you never learn how to be confident. So it's all this, you're a fat ass, big back, get your ass up and get, whoa, now I want to fight, and I might burn some calories doing that, but I'm definitely not going to the gym now, because after I fight, I'm going to be fucking hungry. So I'm going to eat something. So it's like all this negative reinforcement to try to shift you into the understanding of a message. And I know they say, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Mind you, I don't want no flies around, but also, like, you have to find a better way to relay your messages. And it was the same thing on the plantation, because Kev on stage, when we went to go see him, he was talking about in his stand-up that the white church and the black church serve two different gods.
Absolutely.
And my mutual no-nonsense spirituality said online that she can tell where people are from based off the gods that they serve. So if you grew up in areas that were heavy into trade, then your gods were polytheistic, and they were tolerant because they needed to be so people could get along. If you grew up in an area with a regime that was very oppressive, then your gods were normally omniscient, omnipresent, something that would do well in a monitoring state. If you grew up in a place where the weather was unpredictable, your gods were temperamental. So the gods of the white church and the black church, she said, were different because white people needed a god that reflected the status that they wanted to keep. So their god would support any of the bullshit that they would do. But black people needed a revolutionary god that would deliver them from the hands of the wicked and make the first last and the last first. But the problem with that is you are praying to the same God that they gave you. So it's their God you're praying to, basically, because you're going off of their version of the Bible. There are multiple versions of the Bible, but this is the one that you were allowed to have. This is the one that y'all keep passing around. And in that, you are taking in this indoctrination, or you're being indoctrinated. And all I see are people that are basically saying, hey, God, they're killing me. Can you ask them to stop? And they're like, God, we kill these people in your name.
Yeah.
What prayer is God answering? What prayer is he answering?
But I'm not in the